GasCast, a Bristol Rovers fans podcast.
Hello and welcome to the final regular GasCast of the season. I'm your host Hardy Thorne. Joining me today is Max Alderson and Tom Metcalf. After last week's largely positive episode, normal service will unfortunately resume today. Rovers took just 1 point this bank holiday weekend, which leaves us still in a relegation battle mathematically. Let's jump straight into Wimbledon. Wimbledon aside in good form and treading water in the relegation zone, battling for survival. We took a point after Joe Pigott opener was cancelled out by a signature Ollie Clark screamer. Mets, you made the journey. We'll start with you. We played a different formation of 5-3-2 with Partington at wing-back. Seems we tried to match them for physicality and it didn't work.
No, it didn't work at all, really. I will say Wimbledon are massive as a team. They are huge. And Partington at right wing-back, it didn't work whatsoever at all. He couldn't get forward. He got forward once, maybe in the second half, and getting back, he was almost non-existent. Not that I could see at that end of the pitch anyway, but he just wasn't any kind of any role, either role in a wing back. He just wasn't defensively good, or going forward, he just wasn't existent. So in that way, it fell right on its ass.
I was actually going to say, I haven't been to Wimbledon since the first game of the Paul Buckle season in League Two, but I hear the terrace leaves a lot to be desired.
I mean, I'm a short ass. I'll happily admit that. And the terrace is so flat that you just can't see anything. I could see our kind of box quite well, but anything up the other end of the pitch, I was looking through people's heads and all that. I did manage to just about see Ollie Clark's screamer, which made the afternoon worth it, really. But the only good thing I saw from being down that end of the pitch was their fans were chucking the ball, kind of like how Plymouth did when Bonham went to go and get it for a goal kick and they were 1-0 up. They were chucking it up around the crowd, and some bloke went to go and give it to him, but then chucked it over his head to big cheers. And then when we equalised and the ball came onto the pitch for a goal kick, Bonham, the slowest walk going, all of that, and then everyone started cheering. Well, GasCast started cheering him, and he gave us a little wry smile. It was an absolute beauty of a moment watching all the Wimbledon fans go mental. Those two things were pretty much the highlight of my day.
I mean, Max, another rocket from Ollie Clark. What a boost he's had since the Player of the Season award.
Yeah, well, it definitely has seemed to give him a bit of a kick, and he seems to be getting into that final third a little bit more. I don't know if that's due to the boost from getting that Player of the Season award, or if it's maybe Coughlan's grown tired of seeing Circum in that attacking mid role and him not being too effective there, and he's seems to maybe be playing Ollie Clark in that role, and it's getting results. I'm not sure which of the two it is, but yeah, it's great to see him returning to Thunder Bastard form.
Yeah, I think he's certainly playing a little bit further forward, and we'll just move straight on from the Wombles game because there's a lot more to talk about on the Rochdale game. I can hear your sighs.
My eye roll was audible.
Yeah, a really disappointing result yesterday, which of course went completely against all of our predictions in true GasCast form. Sees us remaining in the relegation battle. This particular loss leaves us on our joint highest ever number of home losses in a season since World War II, according to Max.
Yes, that's what I heard on the Radio Bristol, on the way home.
So Max, Graham's been quoted in the media singling out the mentality of the side in these home games. Or in fact, not even necessarily the mentality of the side, more the issue of playing at home for everyone in League One.
Yeah, he seems to be running the line that we've got this mental block at home, which is a funny way of saying we're shit, to be honest with you.
I've never heard you say something so brutally.
Well, yeah, it's just excuses, isn't it? There's a mental block. That's such a faux pas, isn't it? It's like, oh, I'm sorry, we haven't got the mentality to win games. It's not about the mentality to win games. It's about going out there and playing football, and we haven't attempted to do that at all in many home games. You know, we've had some horrendous results this season. Walsall, Southend, Scunthorpe, Accrington, Wickham, Shrewsbury, Rochdale. You know, I could go on and on and on. And these are all bottom 8 sides. And we've said it time and time again on the podcast this season that these are the games where a win would carry us right up the table. And in pretty much 9 out of 10 of them, Bradford being the 1 out of 10, we've not got 3 points. And I think that's where the frustrations seem to stem from on Monday, and why fans seem to be far more irate at this result than other results, is because it's a culmination of, it's been happening all season, and people are just fed up that it's happened yet again. It's in our hands once again, and we cock it up. And it's, a mental block just seems like a really, really bad excuse to me.
Bit of a cop-out, really,
yeah,
isn't
it is. You should just say, we aren't good enough. And that's the truth.
And what exactly, it's one of those weird manager things that gets said, where this mental block at home, right? What is it? Is it
exactly
large fans, large amounts of fans there? Is it everyone putting pressure on them? Is it the TV screen not being there?
Yeah,
I'm sure that is factoring into it, but
essentially.
you'd never hear DC saying, there's a mental block. He'd say, we're not good enough. He'd come out and just flat out say it. So I'm a bit surprised to hear that from Graham. And actually, I can't really see anything, it's not like everyone's getting on the players' backs. It's not like when there were boos under Darryl
Not at all.
at half-time and that. Everyone's reasonably supportive, except for, of course, of Nichols, because he's useless. But yeah, mental block, it just seems like just bollocks excuse, like Max said, really.
Matt, it is frustrating, isn't it? Because we finally gave the side credit last week, the manager credit last week, credit to Coughlan.
Yeah.
Immediately proved our concerns to be concerns.
Yeah, well, it's another in the long line of terrible predictions we've had. I think, we've had a few howlers. Well, actually, when I said we should release Ollie Clark at the end of the season, you then went and got season of the player of the season.
Season of the player.
Yeah,
Season of the player.
You know what I meant. And then has been on decent form. So the credit we've given to Coughlan, I think this is exactly why we've all got question marks around him, because although in all the things we said last week, it was last week, about him inheriting an imbalanced side and all that, it's still, I don't feel like he definitely wasn't getting the best out of the players yesterday, and then come out with this mental block rubbish. We just simply weren't good enough, and you can't really see what we were trying to do against Rochdale. It wasn't like we had a game plan and it just didn't come off. It was, if there was a game plan, it was try and counter-attack, if anything, sit off them and wait for a mistake, of which there were plenty. Rochdale gave the ball away so much and we never managed to capitalise on it. It was, I can't understand what the plan was for that game.
It's almost like you could say that maybe this fear at home stems from him, because he literally said in the Bristol Post, and I was really quite confused by this one, that everyone in League One struggles more at home and it's easier to play away, which is a very strange statement, and I don't really understand what he means by that. But if the players are listening to that, then it's no wonder that they're not putting on a performance at home.
Well, didn't we have a season
excusing
a couple of years ago where we had 2 away wins all season under Darryl, or 3, and we finished mid-table because our home form was so great. So again, that's rubbish. I think it's just poor excuses, and like Met says, we tried to counter-attack at home, which is what we've been trying to do all season. Sit back against sides who are, let's face it, they are weaker than us because they're lower in the table, and we play like an away side at home, but they're also playing like an away side. So it's two sides that are just sitting back, trying to play on the counter, not pressing, and it just makes for a dull game of football. And 9 times out of 10 this season, we've been hit by a sucker punch because they're just better up front than us generally.
That's one of the main things that stood out to me, is because when I was watching the game, I did literally say to the person next to me that there was going to be a goal in the game, and then 1 minute later Rochdale scored it. Now I'll be honest, I did not expect Rochdale to be the ones that scored it. I thought it would be us, not necessarily deservingly so, but I thought that the game still it was open, and I thought that we were going to nick the goal. Max, where was the effort? You say about pressing, there was no pressing.
No,
it's like they were on their holidays. Where's the effort?
I don't know. Yeah, there was no effort at all. The midfield 2 were Upson and Ollie Clark, and Upson seemed to sort of sit in that holding DM role, and Ollie was trying to play box to box, but he wasn't really pressing them at all. And there were so many times where we would just drop as like a back 6 almost and let them play around us, and it's we're at home here against a side who have been in the relegation zone for most of the season, and we're letting them play as much football as they want. We're not concerned at all by it. and it's it's embarrassing really, because how many times sides like that, they're down there for a reason, and that's because they're not great on the ball. You press them, they're going to make mistakes,
and they were making mistakes as well.
Yeah, without much pressure. So it's just beggars belief. It really is. We missed a go. I think I don't know why he'd been dropped. Probably for the formation change. It was just like you say. I don't know if they were on the holidays, but they definitely shouldn't be, because we're not safe mathematically.
It definitely felt like a pre-season kind of like nice warm weather. Everyone's kind of like getting warmed up, or like kind of chilling out. No one's really putting the effort in. It really did feel like, or like kind of last game of the season where no one's got anything to play for, and everyone's just kind of wandering around. It didn't really make any difference what the result would be, but obviously it does make a massive difference to both teams. It's bizarre.
Max, we changed the formation again, a 4-4-2 of sorts, and it didn't really work. We've had concerns over Graham tactically. Are you concerned?
Well, it's hard to say, because we discussed last time that these aren't his players and he hasn't got the personnel he wants. We've only really got one winger in the entire squad, and that's Rodman. Circum, I don't know, he's not really a natural winger. So it's hard to say. It's hard to say that he's tactically clueless. He's obviously trying something different. Because let's face it, the Diamond have been pretty crap for a few weeks now. Coventry away, it wasn't very good, and Bradford at home, it was pretty dreadful. We got out of jail there, so he was trying something different. I did say that I hope we would change it up versus Wimbledon. We changed it up, but we did play 5 at the back. That didn't really work. And then at home, obviously, we've changed to a 4-4-2. So he is trying to be more attacking and get more width in the side, which is something we've lacked. So I can't really argue with that, because I think a lot of us did think that we do need more width, and he deserves credit for trying that. But I don't think he has the players to execute that. So I'm actually a little bit encouraged that he's trying new things, but it's very difficult to judge with the players he's got, because they're not his players, and they're not. To be honest, they're all crap. So, what do you want me to say?
That is a statement and a summary.
A massive, yeah.
I was going to say, I feel like he left it far too long to make a substitute, Mets. And in terms of what you're saying, Max, he was taking a risk. He didn't really take a risk to change it during the game. Surely we needed to make a change earlier. He was crying out for it, especially since Nichols was missing.
And the changes he did make, they weren't positive ones. I don't think they made a difference at all. Do you?
He brought off Nichols quite late on, didn't he? For was it Riley in the end?
Riley, yeah.
Which I would have rather seen Jakubiak for that. I think watching Riley at Wimbledon, I think he's much better off the bench. But I think Jakubiak's got just more about him, a bit more strength, a bit more direct, and he showed that when he kind of took on one of their players, megged him up, and I mean he did get tackled immediately, but still. He's shown more in those 20 seconds than Nichols did the entire game. That's
literally what I said to the person next to me on the spot. I said, in that 10 seconds, I think I've seen more than I've seen from Nichols in 3 games. And that's the sad thing here is let's forget for 1 second that his previous form, and let's assume that he deserves a start. But on merit of that game, what did we expect him to offer us, Max, that we weren't... I mean...
Goals.
He clearly wasn't getting involved in play. He wasn't touching the ball. He wasn't available at any point. Jakubiak comes on straight away. He got the ball a lot out wide. Why the hell wasn't Nichols getting the ball?
Well, every time he got... Well, first off, every time someone plays the ball... I'd say about 60% of the time he's offside, which is it's become a really, really recurring theme the past few weeks, and it's really getting my goat now. Then, when he does get the ball, he just completely falls over it and rugby tackles one of their players, completely destroying the attack that we built up. I mean, I don't want to be too harsh, but I am going to be. He's useless. I mean, if I was Graham, I'd buy him out of his contract now and just let him go. I really don't see any value in him at all.
Well, I mean, Graham said some pretty ludicrous things over the January transfer window about kind of locking him up and keeping him away because everyone's going to be sniffing around and trying to buy him.
I'd lock him up in my basement.
I didn't know that Havant and Waterlooville were able to purchase League One players. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, I mean, that's one of my concerns with Coughlan is he's put his backing into the players. But is he just doing that to get them going, or is he actually serious when he says they're a good group and he talks as if they're going to be here for a while? I mean, if we retain the same group of players, Max, will the mental block continue?
Yes. I mean, there's no magic curse that's going to be lifted just because the season ends and a new one begins. I really don't think. For one, I don't think there is a mental block. I just think there's a complete lack of ability, and these players don't play well together. So, if we retain the same core, I think we'll struggle again. Yeah, easily.
I saw something on Twitter where someone basically said this was one of the worst squads we've ever had, but I just want to put it out there that I completely disagree with that statement. Right? If you look at the players one by one, I'll agree that the balance of the squad pretty poor, and if that's what they mean, fair enough, I'm being harsh. But if you look at man for man, Ed Upson's better than any quality player we had when we went down from League Two. I mean, that side was dross.
Yeah,
The
there
League
is
One
there is
relegation as
individual quality, but as a team, they don't play well together, and the squad is so unbalanced that we can only really play one formation. I mean, we've got one winger in the squad, for God's sakes, and our fullbacks, our right back options are very limited. I don't think Partington's any good going forwards. James Clark's just to stay at home, and Ledbitter's been missing since October. So, there's no, we're missing. We've got a big hole at right back really in terms of quality. We've got one winger, and we've got one striker who can put it in the net. And the midfielders all over the place with about 20 different styles of centre mids. So
none of them
creative. None of them creative.
yeah.
As well. They're all hard workers.
Yeah.
So it's a bad imbalanced squad, and there is individual quality, but we need to clear out and a refresh. I think massively. I mean, that's obvious to see.
Mets, when Johnson is off his game, we're off our game. We've said before that we are at risk of becoming a one-man team. Are we a one-man team?
Yeah,
I mean, he was off form on Saturday, whenever we played, Monday. He's entitled to not be on red-hot form every game. We couldn't score without him.
No, we're Johnson Clark Harris FC, and it's not just, his goals. Obviously, they're massive, but even when he's not on his game, as in like winning headers and holding up the ball, and kind of everything goes through him. So if he's not on it, then we're not on it. And the last 2 games he hasn't been, so we haven't been. It's a direct correlation in that way. That's all we are at the moment is Johnson Clark Harris FC.
How worrying is that?
Oh, very. When he's not on form, like we've seen past 2 games, then we're not going to score goals. We're not going to attack teams. Best we can hope is for a Coventry 0-0. But to be fair, probably another draw. If we can get a draw out of Fleetwood and Barnsley, we're probably safe anyway. So it's not too much of a concern at the moment, but it is for next season, especially if he attracts interest from higher up the pyramid. Then we're at Who Are We FC? We're no one.
And do you back Coughlan to be able to pull another rabbit out of the hat in terms of massive 6-foot strikers? Pull a 6-foot striker out of the hat, if you will.
We haven't got a crystal ball, have we? It's an unknown entity. The only thing we can do is wait and see and have a little bit of faith in Coughlan. He's brought in 2 seemingly decent players. Let's just have a bit of faith. I mean, what else can we do? Is that, or we roll the dice and sack Coughlan and bring in Paul Hurst or someone and just completely have a Paul Buckle style clear out, which may work, it may not work. But if we keep him, it may work, it may not work. There's no consistency because we've got a new manager. It's all new still. It's not like we've got Darryl and we know the kind of squad he's got and what he's trying to build. We do need to start over, and whether it's with Coughlan or someone else, it's not really going to matter, and we're not going to know if it's going to be any good. So we just have to sort of ride it out, I think.
Do we know if Widrington can recommend players that are not from Coventry
Or related to him?
As I believe, he has some kind of clause where he can't recommend players he's recommended to Coventry or something like that. So he sort of may have had to scout other players, but in the short time he's been here, scouting from scratch, maybe not. I don't know.
I think I saw Graham said that they had been scouting far and wide and wanted to get their business done early, and I hope that.
Didn't we have some overseas scouts at one point?
We did, Darryl? And he's currently sat on the bench next to Graham, Brian Dutton.
Doing well, isn't he?
Yeah, so I don't think he's scouring the Europe as we hoped.
Also, every summer we say, like Darryl or whoever will just say, yeah, we want to get our business done early. Every single manager in every single league wants to get their business done early, and realistically, we're bottom of the food chain, so we're waiting on other deals to fall through before we can get who we want.
And then we get the Hamer Bristol Post thing where we're all at work and we all open our browser in the bottom corner and we kind of check who Rovers signed then, and it's Hamer saying it's really hard to sign players in the summer. And then in January we are all looking in the bottom right corner and it says it's really hard to sign players in January. When is it easy to sign players? Well, one thing I did want to bring up, it's really disappointing that we're still in this relegation battle and that the games actually matter, because it would have been nice to blood some youth, Max.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
I have been itching to see Kilgore get some game time and Dion Moore get into the first team, and Rhys Kavanagh and Lewis Lee Gilchrist, because there's some real quality in our youth squad out on loan, and it's been really impressive since we've set up that under 23s development side. You only need to look at Michael Kelly coming into the first team this season to see what an impact it can have, and how much it can give you depth for very little money. So it is a massive shame that if we aren't going to be able to do that, and I would like to think that after the Fleetwood game we will be safe. We may lose and still be 4 points clear, which hopefully is the outcome. And then for that Barnsley game, Barnsley will probably need to win it, but it would be good to maybe start Kilgore in that game alongside Craig or alongside Lockyer, maybe in a back three, and then bring Moore or Kavanagh off the bench, because let's be honest, our other strikers, Nichols and Jagibiak and Riley, have not exactly been physically effective on the game themselves. So maybe give Dion Moore a go, let him bully a few defenders, or Rhys Kavanagh, because he's a really good finisher. At Newport he scored a ridiculous amount of goals for their under 18s, and he did for our development side as well. So yeah, some exciting talent. Be good to get them some game time, but if I'm honest, I would not be shocked if he ended up starting Sinclair against against Barnsley and then just not subbing anyone all game.
It is disappointing that we failed to get ourselves out of it, because I remember Darryl did the same last season, blooded a few youngsters, and it's really the only opportunity you'll get to actually expose them to our deadly home atmosphere and hopefully get that monkey off their back early. But let's move on from Rochdale. I'm sure everyone listening, I'm sure you're in a very positive mood now. Sorry about that. We'll move on to your questions. First one's from Ollie Louchy, sorry. Basically just says, too many samey players, Clark, Upson, Agogo in the middle, great at breaking up play, but a lack of creativity. I should add at this point that we received 3 other questions that in some way or another alluded to the absence of Chris Lines. Mets?
Yeah, I'm not overly upset about Lines missing out. Although we are crying out for that creative player, I don't think that is Chris Lines. I think he's more of a kind of Gerrard in his later years, sit on the back four and try and spray passes. The creativity you'd want to be coming from Circum, who's been massively off his game. But I do agree with the question that we've like Max said earlier, a lot of the same players in midfield, and we do need a number 10 that can unlock defences. Because so many times, pretty much every game that you listed earlier, where we come unstuck like a Wickham, it's just crying out for someone to be able to unlock a defence when teams sit back. We've struggled so much against teams who just defend. They just come to nick a point or maybe nick
3 at this
yeah,
season.
Yeah. So, yeah, I massively agree. It goes back again to the recruitment and the unbalanced nature of the squad. It's a recurring theme.
Max, how are you feeling about the central midfield options? I mean, you mentioned Sinclair. That wasn't even mentioned in the question, but Sinclair is another one that's just a break-up.
Fits the mould, exactly.
I disagree massively with what you were saying about Lines. I think we've been really missing him. And I think the key thing with Lines is, you're right, he's changed his game, but that's because Darryl told him to change his game. He wanted him to get more stuck in, win more tackles, do that side of the game and be a more balanced central midfielder. And that was good because Lines was playing in a 2-man, 3-man midfield quite a lot of the time. But in this diamond, I think the diamond is built for Lines, and I think he would be far more effective at attacking mid than Circum has been. I think Lines loves to drive into the box. We've been missing that for months and months. and he doesn't have to worry about the defensive side of it. He doesn't have to run up and down and have the fitness that he did in his youth. He doesn't need to, because we're playing 3 rugged centre mids behind him now. So he should be able to have the freedom to attack as a number 10. And I think there's no one else who could. I'm not going to say Lyons is going to be the best number 10 in the division, but it's better than playing like, a rugged centre mid there. We need someone with a bit of drive, a bit of flair, and the experience to do that. And I think Lyons, I don't see why he's out the squad, because I think he'd be far more effective than what we've got currently.
Can't really argue with that, actually. To be fair, it's a very good rebuttal.
There we go.
I liked the statement.
Not just a pretty
Lyons is made for the diamond. I like that. I don't know what to say to that, Max. You've really blown me away with that. That was quite a passionate speech. I've seen a lot on Twitter in defence of Lyons, and I have to say that I wasn't necessarily missing him as much as everyone else. But you've played that side very well. I think everyone will be clapping you as they listen to this.
Thank you.
Let's move on to the next question. Hibsy37. Playing at home in front of a passionate crowd is supposed to be a huge advantage, isn't it? Has it, about us, means throughout 18-19 we've been an easy 3 points to visitors? Is the pitch too good?
Yeah, make it like a cabbage patch again. That's teams didn't know how to play football on it then.
At least we had a chance. It was a level in the playing field at that point. And James Monteith added, we play like the away team.
Yeah, we sort of brushed on that a little bit. I think we try and counter too much, and we don't control games, and we seem to we try and play the long ball too much, I think, because we've got no real quality in central midfield. So, yeah, we seem to want to counter rather than control possession and keep the ball. I didn't know our possession stats, but watching the game, it felt like Rochdale had a lot more of the ball than we did first
massively,
half.
Yeah. But we haven't really. The thing is, if you're going to play the counter, you've got to take your chances, because realistically, you're going to get 2, maybe 3 a game. And if you do get that chance to break, you need ball carriers who are going to make the right decisions. And too often, our ball carrier is Tom Nichols, who will run full face into a defender or make completely the wrong decision. So it doesn't work in that way. Going direct, I think we should dig up the pitch. Just make it completely like a cabbage patch and just go long to JCH every single time, because for the last home game against Barnsley, I reckon do that.
And Tony Craig would be brilliant on that pitch. He would.
Yeah, he would.
Tearing it up. I'm going to slightly.
Shorts are never white.
I'm going to slightly. That could be misconstrued. I'm going to slightly spike off that question and say, is it acceptable for us to be playing on the counter at home? In terms of, I know everyone says it's a results game, and if we're winning, no one's going to complain. But are you okay being a team that's aiming to essentially counter teams at home?
Yeah, if it works, but it doesn't, so no.
Yeah, I'm with Max. If you're playing Luton at home, or you're playing someone big in the cup, realistically you are the away team. There's no two ways about it. But if you're playing Rochdale or Wickham, you should be going out and trying to, like I said last week, we should be trying to press them and kill them, because, like you said earlier, they made mistakes completely unforced. Their keeper had a simple pass back and he booted it up in the air and then caught it. It nearly went in, bizarrely. How we didn't get an indirect free kick for that was ridiculous anyway, but just pressure them. Like you said, they're down there for a reason. Pressure them.
And this tactical talk leads on to the next question from Dan J. Ball. Do we think GC is the right man to take us forward, or is it too soon to tell? I'll put my opinion straight out there and say I think it's probably too soon to tell. Max?
I would agree, yeah. I'll allude to what I said earlier in that it's an unknown quantity. We just don't know, do we? So we're just going to have to wait and see, I think. Or roll the dice and get someone else in.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like the idea of rolling the dice at this point. I think it's better the devil you know. And also, the other thing is that GC's record is fantastic. Whichever way you look at it, it's really good. So I think he deserves a transfer window, at least till kind of next January. Mm-hmm. If we're in the shit and we're playing rubbish football, then yeah, bid him off and get someone else. But I think he's earned that, definitely.
I feel like if whatever he's going to try and do attacking wise and tactically attacking to score goals, I feel like if we don't get the results we want and we start losing games, he can make us hard to beat again, and he knows how to do that. as a central defender, and we've seen him make us hard to beat this season. So I think he's got a good fullback plan to make us robust if all else fails. So that, like you say, bet the devil you know. At least we know that we can grind out the results. Maybe if we need to, if the attacking plan doesn't all go smoothly next season.
Plus, if like we said before about the imbalanced squad, if we did get one or two players in key positions, we can be much more of an attacking threat. So we've already got the defensive solidity. I think even if we had the same back four for next season, I know Craig's getting on a bit, I wouldn't be overly fussed with like Kilgore coming through and Menezes still to come back. I'm not too worried about getting reinforcements in that area. It's obviously the forward line. So if we did get players that could hold up the ball at the other end and score, then we're not far off really being like at least a mid-table team, if not pushing for the playoffs, I'd say.
With our budget, we should be.
That's a massive shout, actually. I realised I just said that, but
You've seen it in my eyes that I was stunned by the claim.
Well, I mean, the first season we came up from League Two, we were pushing.
We had a good squad, though. Very good squad.
And it'll be hard to match that one, especially for the money that they were being paid, because they're all of the good ones are now being paid a lot more somewhere else, unfortunately.
Yes.
Well, that's a depressing end to that. Thank you, Dan. So I think we all agree, essentially, that Graham needs to have a chance now, but we're not completely convinced that it will be the right choice. But we're all willing to give him a go. So,
well, what else can we do? Is give him a go or give someone else a go? It's all a big unknown. So, what the hell? At this point, I'm beyond caring. Let's just.
Thanks again for sending in those questions and pushing Max over the edge. If yours wasn't read out, don't be sad. I've put a few away for the end of season. We need these things to talk about over the break. Moving on to the player spotlight, quite a brief one. We've already touched upon him. This week, Ed Upson. We picked this one because we knew it would stir up a debate. Personally, on Saturday, I don't think he was particularly bad. In fact, I thought he broke up play reasonably well. Max, what kind of player is Ed Upson?
He's a CDM for me. That's where he's best. I think he played midfield 2, midfield 3 quite a lot under Darryl, and he's just not got the touch for it. His control is not the best. He just seems to be, like I alluded it to earlier in the season when I said his second touch is often a tackle or a foul. But at the CDM role, he's got a bit more space. He's got a bit more time. He seems to like to chest it down and offload or get his head on it and get some distance on it. And I think that's, if we're playing him in that role, he's useful. But playing him in any other role, maybe not so. So I think he's got his uses. I don't know what kind of wage he's on, if he's going to be worth that, if he's going to just be doing that role. But I think he was okay. He's been good in recent weeks. I don't think he's been bad. He's certainly not been one of our worst players. He's probably been one of our better players. But that's not really saying much, if I'm honest. They've all been pretty lackluster. But yeah, Ed he's a 6 out of 10 at the minute, isn't he? I don't think he's anything special, but he's not anything really bad.
Does he get in your starting lineup, Mets?
Yeah, every week. I think I agree with Max in that defensively, I think we all said when he signed, we were all a bit, and actually the first kind of, maybe 2-3 months of the season, we were like, we're not sure what kind of player he is. And I think defensively is his strongest suit, and I think he does break up play really well, and I think he can distribute it really well as well.
For a CDM, especially.
For a CDM, yeah.
Maybe not if he was focused in the front of a diamond, but for a defensive midfielder, he's got a pass.
Do you think he needs better centre mids around him?
I think all of them do.
Well, yeah. Do you think we need better players in the team? No. Do you think like a formation where Upson is CDM and then we have 2 centre mids whose sole role is to get the ball and create? Do you think that would be good?
Yeah.
Or do you think we need a box to box like Ollie Clark still there?
No. I think he would play better if whenever he breaks up play, he can look up and see 2-3 options immediately, because he is quite clever in that way. He will pick the best option. So, and he rarely-ish puts a pass astray. I think he's really good in like kind of keep on hold possession. So, and he seems like a good egg. Like, I haven't really seen him be pissy on the pitch or anything. He just seems quite chill.
Egg Upson,
yeah.
At least a joke for you there.
Yeah. God.
Not intentional, but we'll take it.
Yeah, we'll have that. Yeah, I think he's a good addition to the squad. I agree with you. If he's on massive wages, then we can certainly do better for the position. But if he's on not too much, I think
he is on a fair bit.
No.
I think he was Darrell's number one summer target, I think, so. You got him in straight away,
but
didn't
he did come from relegated MK Dons. So
yeah, but they pay big wages. Yeah, I think he snapped him up straight away, didn't he, as soon as the window opened. And then we didn't sign anyone for like a month and a half after that.
I remember praising it because he was one of those obvious players to sign, to be honest.
Yeah.
He's got history down this area, so you knew that he'd be willing to move here. And he's done very well in the past. I mean, he's played in the Championship, albeit he's been relegated from the Championship, but there's a lot of good players that have been relegated from the Championship. Disappointing, really, overall, but he is getting better, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think time will tell if...
Would you keep him next season and give him that time?
Yeah, I probably would. Although, to be honest, I was saying to you earlier, I'd probably get rid of every single player in our squad bar JCH and just shake it up again. Because I really don't think that we could do much worse in terms of balance as a squad. Yeah, I'd keep Upson. I would keep him. He does a good
I'd keep
job.
him. Yeah, definitely.
I'd keep him as well.
Well, considering you'd imagine Sinks might be...
He'll be gone, I think, Sinks.
Yeah, considering he hasn't really played that much. I'd love it if he was player coach, like fitness coach or something like that. I just want him around the club, really.
I'd like him to just kind of walk around outside the stadium on a match day and hand out samples of sausage rolls and stuff.
You mean
Just
just
like-
be a catering staff?
Just anything you need. Like I think just to have his presence in amongst it, you know,
Yeah.
see his gorgeous flowing locks.
Have you seen
and
his Avon Tyres poster with him on it?
I will never get tired of it.
That's a very bad joke.
I had to
I'm not
do
even
it.
going to laugh
Oh,
at that.
Jesus.
Took
me too long
if
to get
you've
that
not
as
seen
well.
it, there's a big banner over by the what's it called? Uplands Tower. I don't know what it's called these days. The big one, the only stand we've got.
Poplar insulation
That's the
stand.
one. Yeah, the entrance to that stand and terrace has got this massive Avon Tyres banner now, which has got Sinclair coming out of some kind of 1940s remastered 1940s car with his arm around a very attractive young lady, whilst himself wearing a Hugh Hefner dinner jacket. And he's not looking at the lady, he's looking back at the car like, ooh, that's a very nice car, even though he's just got out of it. Admiring the tyres from Avon Tyres. And it's a really good I've just ordered some new tyres from Avon Tyres now, just off the back of
Boom,
that. So
there we go.
Well, to be
Job
honest,
done.
I think it was more likely just a picture of him arriving at the awards evening.
there is also one of Tom Broadbent getting out of a car looking like an ASOS model. So
He literally
literally
is an
is, yeah.
ASOS model.
Did you not know that?
I knew he was a model. I didn't know he was ASOS.
He is an
Yeah.
ASOS model. Yeah, specifically, I have actually found him on there whilst looking for t-shirts.
I'm
So,
sure, don't Avon Tyres have a calendar? Because I'm sure I've seen him in the calendar as well. Tom Broadbent, specifically.
you have an Avon Tyres calendar.
I'm sure I saw it somewhere. It must have been in the club because they must have been giving them out everywhere. But I'm sure I saw Tom Broadbent in an Avon Tyres calendar. Well,
That's your lot for the Ed Upson spotlight. Glad we really dived into that one. Let's focus on the next two games in this mathematically possible relegation battle, as I'll call it. It's a bit of a mouthful, though. 2 games remain to ensure our survival in League One. Fleetwood away on Saturday, and then the following Saturday, Barnsley at home. Neither particularly easy. Mets, surely we have to be realistically looking at Fleetwood away as our best chance for anything.
yeah. Now they can't hit playoffs. Their season's over. So if that's our main kind of game for points, really. And if we can nick a point there, fantastic. Joey Barton might be in prison by then, so that'd be nice. And Barnsley, obviously, is at this point, I'm calling it as a complete write-off. It's another Millwall. They've sold out their allocation. They're trying to get this all ticket. And one of their fans back in, I think, January, bought Supporters Club membership for £10 so that he could guarantee getting a ticket in the home end for the last game of the season. Well, not guaranteed. Obviously, it goes down the tiers, but that's how sure this bloke was, or wanted to make sure that he had a ticket for what is potentially their promotion party.
Max,
Yes.
Do you think we've got any chance against Fleetwood?
No.
Do you think we've got any chance against Barnsley?
No.
All right. Well, that's
I'll elaborate. Fleetwood, they've got nothing to play for, have they? They're going to be relaxed. They're going to be maybe playing some youth players, but also maybe just seeing it as a bit of a, it's our last home game of the season. Let's give the fans a good show. They're going to be a relaxed, confident style of play, whereas we need. I think we'll be alright regardless, but we'll be going for that point. So I think we'll be quite open at the back maybe, and we haven't been great lately. So yeah, I'm not really expecting anything against either game. Barnsley, they absolutely trounced Plymouth 4-0.
Could have been a lot more as well.
Yeah, could it?
Yeah, I watched the highlights earlier. It was an absolute massacre.
Yeah, so I'm not looking forward to that one. I'm actually not going to be going because I can't be asked to see the players walking around the pitch at the end of the game after we've stayed up by 1 point, and all the people staying and clapping them. I'm going to be so angry if I'm there. So I don't think I'm going to go. I think it's my granddad's. It's his 80th birthday, so we're going out. So.
You have really triggered recently, haven't you? There's certainly a change in your.
Is everything all right with you? Because today you've been really depressed.
I'm fine. I'm just a little bit fed up of Rovers, to be honest. At the minute, I think it's someone next to me put it perfectly. It's death by 1,000 cuts. It's just one thing after another, and it's just I'm just ready for the summer break now.
Recharge your batteries, as Daryl said.
I'll be giving it the R, and come August.
I'm pretty sure I heard you giving it the R on Saturday about 3 times.
It was a very angry R.
Yeah.
But I did give it the R, yeah. But I think I'm just a little bit. It's been a long season, and when you've had 13 home defeats in all competitions, it does start to grind you down when you go into the Mem, and I think like 60-70% of the time you're losing, 10% of the time you're drawing, and 15% of the time you're winning. It gets pretty boring pretty fast, and does grind your gears a bit. And that Rochdale game just sort of like was, I wouldn't say it pushed me over the edge, but it was just like, well, that sums up our season. You could see it coming a mile off, and I'm just a bit negative about the club on and off the pitch at the minute, and I think a lot of fans probably feel the same, but just looking forward to the summer now. It's a shame there's no England
Sounds
World
like you
Cup
need
or
the
anything.
summer.
Yeah, massively. What are your thoughts on the next 2 games in, Harv?
I don't like Harv, by the way. My name is Harv. We're not doing that. No one's calling me Harv. Basically, I think we'll be fine even if we lose both of them.
Yeah.
I've actually written down that it was a loaded point, and it's essentially definitely going to bite me on the ass. But we will be fine even with the 0 points. And honestly, I think we'll probably get 1 point, and it will be Fleetwood. I think Barnsley actually, as you alluded to, it's another Millwall. I think it'll be a blinding game. I've got a feeling. I think it's going to be glorious sunshine. Barnsley are going to struggle at the start. They're nervous, and we'll capitalise, but they'll just absolutely trounce us in the second half. And I think it will be enjoyable to watch their limbs, to be honest, without the worry that we're going down because we'll have the point from Fleetwood. So
and it's half 5
well, we
kickoff.
we could lose the Fleetwood game and mathematically be safe because all we need is for it to be 3 points clear. So if we lose that game, results going against us, we could still be 3 points clear, which with our goal difference would be enough. So
just a quick straw poll. Safe? I say safe. Mets?
I say safe.
Yeah, I'll be safe, and the bookies think we will at 250 to 1 as well. So I've stuck a tenner on that just to make. If we do go down, I'll have a nice $2,500 in my pocket. So not too.
And it might cheer you up.
It cheered me up for a little bit. Yeah,
We'll
pay for my season ticket for about 8 years. So
finally, are we all team relegate Plymouth?
yes.
No.
I said last time, didn't I? And you were like, "Oh, that's a brave shout." Now who's laughing? Look,
It's got to be Plymouth to go, surely, Matt. If you don't want, it'd be
Scunthorpe.
hilarious to watch Derek Adams go.
I think it will go to that last game, Plymouth v Scunthorpe. I think loser goes down out of that.
Yeah, I think it
we
looks
get
like
tickets?
it definitely will.
I want to watch it somewhere. Get it on the iFollow if we can.
Yeah, that'd be mint. But I think I'll have enough. Plus, I mean, I do like Plymouth as an away day. I mean, I used to live there, so I'm massively biased, but it's a lovely place, I think. I know a lot of people disagree, but I think it's a great away day. I really enjoy it. So, and it's much better than Scunthorpe, where, what have you got outside Scunthorpe? 1 pub and a KFC.
They got crap fans as well, they don't sing.
No, there was, remember that one, remember the first game of the season?
Dead silent, wasn't it?
Yeah. And
dead silent. You didn't know
when
they were
Taylor
there.
put us 1-0 up.
Was that when Van Veen scored for
Yeah.
them?
So that game was, the atmosphere was great. I'd never known an away end sing for 90 minutes like that. It was brilliant.
Oh yeah, it was fantastic.
It was big party atmosphere. But I thought like maybe the sound didn't travel very well. But no, the minute they scored, they equalised, the whole place erupted, and I was like, oh geez, I didn't realise they could make that much noise. Like,
Yeah. Whereas our
so
goal
quiet.
is, it's local-ish. There's a bit of a atmosphere, a bit of a tension. I really like it as an away day. It's one of my faves.
I can't be dealing with Derek Adams again. It drives me mad.
He's got to be getting the sack soon, though. Surely,
I think so.
must be.
Right, we've
Anyway,
descended on to talking
thanks
about
for
Plymouth's
thanks
managerial.
for listening to Tanner's cast.
Yeah,
Janice, sorry.
that is all
Jam
from us
cast,
in the final episode, the final regular episode of the season. We hope you've enjoyed listening this season as much as we've enjoyed making it. I'm saying this as if we're not going to be putting more out, but there will be content, so don't worry. We plan things. If you have any ideas for things you'd want to see over the summer,
Just say we've got plenty of ideas. If you have any ideas, please
if you-
get in touch.
I may be overly portraying this confidence. We're not that confident.
Literally anything.
We'll think of
anything at this point. Yeah.
Anything. We're going to rely solely on stadium rumours, so we'll see you next February. Be sure to follow us on social media, subscribe via your podcast player of choice. Thanks for listening, and up the gas.
At the gas.
GasCast, a Bristol Rovers fans podcast.